welcome back to Trimble Garage. So today we're going to continue on with the 1988 S15 pickup, and what I've found in driving this thing is I'm getting a weird ticking sound as I'm decelerating with the truck in neutral. So basically the drivetrain is just freewheeling, and I suspected it was a U-joint in the drive shaft, so I went under the truck yesterday, and lo and behold, yes, there's a little bit of play. I think that's the problem because everything else does seem tight. So I went and picked up a universal joint. So what we're going to do is pop the drive shaft out and take it over to the press, and we'll press the new drive shaft in. But while I've got that out, it's kind of rusty and gross, so I'm going to take a wire wheel to it. We're going to clean that shaft up and give it a paint job. So let's get going. All right, so we got it up in the air, and I tried to recreate the sound by spinning the tires. And I found a new problem. See if you can hear it. Doesn't surprise me. The rear brakes are sticking. So I checked the other side, it's doing the same. So I think I'm gonna actually have to pop the wheels off, take the drums off, and service the rear brakes as well. Really wasn't planning on doing that, but hey, it needs it, so let's do that as well while we're at it. Okay, got that off. Actually, these brakes look pretty darn good. There's lots of meat in there. They were sticking though, so I guess I'll just maybe adjust the e-brake back. That's all it might need, is just that. Or maybe the e-brake is seized, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do that a little bit later. Right now, what I really wanna do is pop this drive shaft out. All right, we're looking at the rear universal joint, and this is actually my problem. I thought it was the front, but it's actually the rear. Hopefully their universal joints are the same. They should be, but if they're not, I'll have to just switch it out and get the other one. But if you look at this, I don't know if you can see that. You should be able to see the play in that, but that is the clicking sound that I'm hearing when I decelerate. So I'm gonna remove these 7/16 bolts and yeah, pop this drive shaft out. Once you remove the rear part of the drive shaft, the slip yoke's gonna come out of the transmission, and it might leak some oil out. So I have my oil pan underneath to catch it if that does happen. I'm hoping with the truck jacked up it won't, but it probably will, so I'm ready for that. Now let's not let this fall on my head. Okay, that's really tight. Let's see if we can get it out. There we go. That's one side. Come on. There we go. All right, we'll pull this out of here. See if this thing starts puking oil out. Nope, we're dry, we're good. But that is definitely the play up and down this way. This way was okay, this way there is play. And there's some circlips that we gotta pop from the inside, get them out, and then we press it one way, remove the cap, press it the other way. Okay, before we get too carried away, I wanna make sure that these are the same. I think they are, but let's try to get a measurement here. 1.129, 1.127. Yeah, a bit of rust on there, so I would say that's the same. And then how about the length overall? We'll measure that. Approximately 3.7. And this one, 3.655. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure that's the same. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. So all that's holding these little cups on are these little spring washers. They'll just snap into place on the inside. That's what's keeping this cup from sliding out in use. So I'll see if I can get those out. Okay, we got these two little clips out, so this thing is ready to take over to the press. I might actually just take a socket and see if I can just hammer these things out by hand. Otherwise, because putting in the press is going to be a little bit of a challenge, holding it. But we'll see if I can tap them out with a socket and a hammer. Yeah, that's a no-go. Those are really tight. I'm going over to the press. What I've done is I've got a socket down here that's deep enough to receive the cap that's going to press through, and then a socket that's pushing the top one in. So this should work. All right, that didn't quite work. Actually, it didn't work at all because the socket that I had in the bottom here, it actually wasn't quite big enough, and I blew the bottom of this whole cap on the other one out. So I've put a bigger socket on. We'll try it again. Okay, so what I've done, I just put some tape around these caps because I don't want that to those caps to fall off. I slipped this cap on. It actually slid on quite nicely. Just give it a little tap. I snapped the circlip on. This one's tight, so now all I got to do is the U-joints is already centered on there. I'm just going to open up the vise, stick it in here, and this should just press that in. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's pretty tight. Oh, I think we're going to have to put it in the press. Yep, let's put it in the press. All right, we got that in there. I'm just going to press that down. I got my son helping me hold that into the drive shaft, make it way quicker. Okay, the universal joint is in. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wire wheel this drive shaft and clean it up. I'm going to give it a coat of paint just because. Why not? All right, so I've gone in the wire wheeled that drive shaft down to get all the loose stuff off, and I've gone over it with a bit of wax and grease remover just so it's kind of clean. And I mean, it really doesn't matter too terribly much, but I've just got an old floor mat that is going in the garbage. I'm going to use it as a bit of a block so I don't get it all over my bench. I'm going to hit this with some spray paint, and I might do some tonight and finish it tomorrow, but let's see what we can do. All right, it's the next day, and we got this drive shaft all painted up. Looks a little better. And now, last thing I got to do is just put these little clips onto these ends on the drive shaft, which is really simple. Let's pop this off here. There we go. That's one. That's two. All right, let's go drop this drive shaft back in. All right, putting it back in is really easy. We just basically are gonna slip that end into the transmission and then bolt this end up to the rear diff. This one into here. Pretty simple. All right, that's in. So next thing to do is I'm gonna adjust the emergency brake on this because they were kind of sticking. I'm hoping that's all it was. Probably was. So anyway, I'm gonna spray some brake clean in here and just clean this up a bit. Let's see if that does anything. That's better. I'm happy with that. I'll go get the other side done. All right, drive shaft's in and the brakes are adjusted. Sprayed them out a bit, cleaned them up. Let's get the wheels put back on.
All right, that's the back end button up. One more thing down. Actually, one thing I've not done on this is an oil change. And that's what I'm gonna do right now, real quick, is an oil change.
All right, so after getting the oil change done, I took the truck out on the highway and took it for a drive. That clicking noise is gone, and in fact, before I was getting a bit of a driveline vibration at 100 kilometers an hour, roughly, and I think it was that drive shaft was a little bit loose there and was a little bit out of balance. So I took it up to about 115K on the highway, smooth as silk, sound's gone, so that definitely solved that problem. A couple more things I gotta do with that truck is the passenger door handle and the fuel gauge in the truck and the instrument cluster. Got to tackle that. Those two things, and that's it. This truck will be finished. So I'm going to call it for today. That's going to wrap up this video. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something and enjoying this little project. Thoughts and comments below. How about a thumbs up, and hey, think about subscribing. And yeah, thanks a lot and have a nice day.